don't have writer's block. You're just mentally exhausted. At least that's what I realized about myself this past Wednesday as I was staring at my screen, sitting at my desk at work. Like, you ever had those moments, those days where like you literally are questioning yourself on what's the point of being here, being at work? Of course, like you're usually able to push through and like force yourself to get through the day. But then there's those certain days where you literally don't know like why you're there, and you really have no energy to even try to make it through the day. And since I couldn't really focus on my work anyways, I just decided to reflect in that moment on like, why am I feeling this way? Like, what is my emotions trying to tell me? And that's where I led to the conclusion that I was mentally exhausted. So instead of doing work, I just looked up the symptoms of mental exhaustion, and I was like, yep, this is exactly what I'm going through. So at least for me, right, I was being very irritated. Like when anyone said anything that was even a little bit annoying, it was just like making me super annoyed. And my job is to like make calls and talk to people all day. So like any type of resistance, any type of like objections, anything like that, because I work in sales, I just couldn't bother to like interacting, convincing them to buy a product or anything like that. I just couldn't be bothered. So like I was like, okay, you said no, cool, fine, on to the next person, truthfully. And as I was looking through the symptoms, I was like, yeah, I think this is what I'm going through. So next one was anxiety. So in my previous video, I literally mentioned how I was feeling a lot of anxiety at work, and that was the exact same day where I was feeling the mental exhaustion. But it wasn't until the next day that I realized that's what it was, and that's what I was experiencing. Because I know I'd be having like anxiety at times, but it's just like out of nowhere. When it's just like out of nowhere for no reason, I can't explain it. Is like, what is this? Like, why am I feeling so much anxiety? And then lastly, this is what the nail in the coffin was: headaches. I was feeling such a headache on Thursday for some reason. I was like, yeah, this gotta be it. This gotta be mental exhaustion. I was just tired of everything, overworking myself, as probably the case. So this is what really led to this video, because stuff like this, if you don't pay attention to your mental health and how you're feeling, especially when it comes to responsibilities and stuff like that, it might be the reason why you can't come up with ideas for your story and why you're thinking you have creative block, when it's actually your brain is just occupied with so much responsibility that you don't really have time, or I should say you don't have the mental clarity to think about your story to even come up with ideas in the first place. So I know with Google, right, Google came up with its own like little solutions and stuff, like, you know, take a break, listen to music, meditate, deep breathing, stay hydrated, of course, disconnect, whatever, make sure you optimize sleep, blah blah blah, physical health, yeah, diet, yeah. I think this is great. Like, I think this is great for the short term. Like, I think these are great short term solutions, and obviously defaulting back to the basics of human health will always be part of the solution to any problem. But I don't think this would solve it in the long term. Like, I think this could solve it for a time period, and then like eventually it's just gonna repeat itself in a cycle. So literally, instead of working, I was thinking to myself, okay, what could possibly be a long-term solution for this? Because I can't just be working full-time trying to write out this story, do these other responsibilities as well, and then just waiting for myself to be mentally exhausted, burn out basically, and then try to reset myself to prepare for that again. Like, no, I'm not doing that. I want to end the cycle as soon as I can. So this is what I came up with. Let me know if this helps or not, but this is my game plan, and this is what I'm going to try and do and see if that could help me. Okay, you also let me know if this is like a cool little feature. Like, I think this is going to be great for making videos. Like, instead of people who use like Miro and stuff like that, I prefer like writing stuff out myself, like with whiteboard or whatever. Like, this is kind of like a digital whiteboard right here. So I could like do stuff like this or whatever. But yeah, I think this is really cool. But let's get to the long-term solutions. So first things first, I went straight to the root cause. The root cause, I believe, is too many thoughts slash responsibility, right? Am I spelling this right? Oh, no, I forgot an I. Okay. So too many thoughts and responsibility. I believe that's the root cause of everything. So this is how I imagine it, right? Think of this circle as like your energy for the day, right? And the reason why you're mentally exhausted is because you're spreading yourself too thin, just like this. The arrows basically mean all the sources you're placing your energy throughout the day. Right? So this equals exhaustion, in my mind at least. And I think to solve that is really to eliminate as much arrows as possible so that my energy could be like this. Like just one arrow, maybe two, but probably like three max, right? That's probably the best case scenario to declutter your mind and at least give your brain a chance to have mental clarity, right? So, this right here is the goal. Now, with that in mind, probably the first thing that comes to your head is less is more, which is becoming truer and truer as I get older, honestly. Actually, let me write this down right now. Let me make sure I have this in mind. The ultimate goal is mental clarity, right? Because you can't really, I shouldn't say can't, but it's very hard to enter a creative flow, like being able to think of ideas when your mind is not clear. Like that's why when you're in a shower or taking a walk, anything like that, you tend to have the best ideas. Just because your mind is clear, you have less distractions. As tend to be the case, at least for me, but most likely for you, hopefully, if you're watching this. But so how do we get from here to here, right? The main question I asked myself was, what are the priority or the priorities in my life, right? Because right now with the whole energy thing, it basically has a lot. So like it has job, it has family, it has like my story, YouTube, friends. I'm just gonna put gym here, but like health in general. Like a whole bunch of stuff is occupying my mind and I'm just not focused and don't have my priorities straight. So I had to ask myself this question. What are the priorities in my life? What truly matters and what do I want to focus on at this point in time in my life? So for myself currently, I would say my story, YouTube, and I don't know what's the last one. Let's just go with story and YouTube for now. Those are my top two priorities. So let me just get rid of this arrow. So if those are my priorities and everything else is secondary to that, which is crazy that I put like in my energy field I put family and I'm saying like story, my own story, and YouTube is like my main priority over family. But let me tell you a way where it makes sense. I'm not saying I'm going to like neglect my family and friends and all that, or like I'm not gonna do any work at my job. I'm gonna make it where it makes sense. So once you decide on what's your priority, the next thing you need to do is everything else in your other energy bubbles, categorize it like this, right? I think of it like this: delegate, maintain, or let go. So this is how I see the rest, right? When I think about priorities, I'm thinking about what do I want to make the most progress in right now, currently in my life. So like I was saying earlier with like family and friends, I just want to maintain how it currently is right now. So family, friends would probably go here. Like I'm not gonna probably put too much extra effort in progressing those relationships because I'm pretty satisfied where my relationships with my family and friends are right now. So I'll probably put it as maintain. Another one is probably gym, which is my health. Past years, gym has been like one of my main priorities, but at this current point in time, I really want to focus on my finances, making more money. So I'm pretty satisfied of my physique, how my health is currently. So I put that as maintain. Now, when it comes to delegate and let go, I didn't put this, of course, in my energy arrows and stuff. But like, let's say, for example, for you, you want to delegate cooking. And of course, what I mean by delegate is you basically make it someone else's responsibility instead of your own. So, like when I say cooking, I mean, instead of you having to do meal preps or cook every day and use energy for that, let's say you use Uber Eats or whatever, or there's other apps that are actually have. I think there's one called Factor. I don't know. You guys could do your own research, but there's certainly apps and websites where you could have like freshly cooked, well homemade meals, and then you could just order them and know the ingredients, put whatever ingredients you want, and then you have your meals for the week. That's just one example of delegation. You could probably think of others that involves in your life that you could probably easily delegate. But in terms of letting go, let's say job, right? No, I'm playing. Unless you have the finances to, right? Unless you do, then do whatever. But well, that's all up to you. But on a serious note, it could possibly be some friends, honestly. It depends on your friendships and how you feel. If you feel like you can let go of some friends, then heck, that could save you some mental space. Heck, some friends might be stealing a lot of energy, more energy than you realize. And that's really what's causing you to have this mental exhaustion in the first place. So that's something to think about. Another thing to really think about is short term pleasures, right? So like that could be video games, it could be whatever you find that gives you instant gratification, but like in the long term it doesn't really do much for you at all. You need to find a way to cut those out as fast as possible. Of course, you don't have to be right away. You could take it step by step. It could be like, okay, I'm going to try and only do this in the weekends, and you just cut it out for like 5 days out the week, you know, things like that. You could probably figure it out your own way, your own system of what you need to delegate, what you could maintain, what you need to just let go in the first place. But the ultimate goal, like I say, is the goal is to have mental clarity so that you have space in your brain to think about your story. That's really the goal. And the more responsibilities you have, the harder it is. So you just want to decrease the amount of arrows that's taking up energy off of your mind and time throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the months, in your life in general. And I promise you, once you start doing this and maybe figure out your own system, this could honestly be the breakthrough you need to actually be able to finish out your outline or your draft or anything that you need to progress your story. But yeah, those are my thoughts. I literally wrote this all down on like a piece of index card. Like you see this right here? I wrote this all down right here while I was at work instead of working. So that's what led to this video. I hope this helps. I hope you resonate with this. I hope this helps you, because honestly, I don't want to be a person who's going through a cycle of like trying to follow their dreams while like, of course, having to live their life and only being able to do like short-term solutions when it comes to like, oh yeah, I just need a vacation of escaping from my reality, when I just want to make my dreams my reality, right? That is the goal. Like making your dreams your reality. And the only way you could do that is by having systems, making a plan, and executing, honestly. Because of course, I was joking earlier about letting go my job, but of course that's part of the plan. Like eventually I want to do storytelling, being an author, doing YouTube, things like that full time, like helping my clients with their stories full time. So it's all about planning and executing and following through with that plan. So So yeah, I hope this helps. I hope you find some value in this video. Heck, another way to get mental clarity is by giving, like I said, delegation, right? Delegating the responsibilities of your stories, of the creative process and brainstorming to somebody else. So if you want to work with me and delegate your brain, and you want to delegate your creative process to me and have me think of ideas for your story, for your outline and stuff like that, you could like click on the video over there to see my consultation calls, and we could discuss about your story, see what areas you're stuck in, answer any questions. I'll also be asking you questions to understand your story better, and then we'll try to finish your outline as fast as possible so you could start your drafting process. Yeah, you can also click the link down below, and that'll be where you could schedule a call with me, and then we could get started, of course. So yeah, lastly, once you clear your mind, you will find the ideas that resonate with you, and you'll be able to find fulfillment when it comes to writing out your story, because that's the goal too. The goal is not really to become like a best-selling author. It's really just to be able to do what you love every day. And if you love writing, then it's always going to be a great idea to clear your mind. Get rid of a lot of the junk that's in your life so that you be able to focus on what matters to you and what's fulfilling to you. So yeah, thanks for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day.